Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Vuka Nazo, your morning news analysis show here on the Big Daddy Liberty Show. My name is Sihlengo Bese, aka Big Daddy Liberty. Remember, if you want to get in touch with us, easy peasy, pardon me, find us on our website at www.bigdaddyliberty.com. There, of course, you can also pledge some support to the show. Guys, 100 Rand a month, the price of a 2 burger meals, I think, sorry, it's been a while since I've had burgers. 2 burger meals is more than enough to keep us going here on the show and help me hire the sort of people who help me improve the show. We're building it as we fly it. So with that being said, find me on my website and pledge some support, please. It's super, super easy. With that being said, how about we get straight into the news? All right, on this, a rainy Durban, the roads are super slick and ever dangerous, but something else makes our roads dangerous. That's the trucks, the number of trucks on South African roads. The numbers are absolutely staggering. And have a look at this, just to get a small snippet of the kinds, depending on where you are in the country, the kinds of lines of trucks that you'll see often occupying small roads in and out of mines and heading to our harbors.
Mense, kyk daar. Van die volk so skyn so. Ja. Laktam. Hierdie ouens gaan nie vandag aflaai nie. Hulle gaan nie vandag aflaai nie. Van die Majuba draai af. Stad hulle.
Yep, that's it. I mean, that is one sample size of the kind of numbers you'll see on our roads. But hey, you didn't have to see that vehicle to know exactly what I'm talking about. Wherever you are in this country, I know that you've seen the number of trucks that zoom past you, often faster than you in your sedan. They have become trucks in this country that is an absolute menace insofar as they are an artificial monopoly of sorts. Over 70% of freight in this country is shipped on trucks, and it begs the question, one, which we asked yesterday, why? Why is that the case? When in reality, South Africa has an expansive rail network that has been bequeathed to us, whether we like it or not, from our colonial days right through apartheid and even today in this government, the current government at least, not making use of that expansive rail network, which is in excess of 36,000 kilometers of rail that goes to every single town, or major town, and indeed most even small dorpies in this country. That expansive rail network that has been in place since 1890 something is suddenly a former shadow of itself. Only about 30% of it is in use today, thanks to, of course, this ANC government and its state-owned enterprise, another failed state-owned enterprise named Transnet, of course, which used to be Spoornet in the apartheid days. The current ANC government has systematically destroyed our rail capacity in this country in favor, as I've always put it forward, to what politicians really wanted, which is to prop up and create an artificial trucking industry where their friends, their cronies, and their families suddenly became truck owners overnight in order to cash in on this industry. An industry, of course, which directly benefits from BEE as a policy. That is specifically the procurement element of it, where truck owners, because companies are obligated to have black business involvement, are obviously picking these black-owned truck companies, most of whom are just companies that are politically aligned, in order to comply with BEE. That policy decision, corrupt as it is, has consequences for the rest of us. As we say in economics, has negative externalities. And one of those negative externalities is the danger that this massively increased number of trucks on our roads poses for us as road users and commuters. Now, I say this because you'll remember in yesterday's Vuka Nazo, we spoke about that horrific accident in Pongola, northern KZN, that claimed the lives of 20 people, 19 of whom were children, whose lives were snuffed out by a truck that opted to break the law to try and overtake illegally on a double barrier line, and literally careened into that truck. Another such story has popped up in the news, almost reminiscent of this again, still in KZN, as I take you, as I said, to KZN, just outside Vryheid and Ulundi on the R34, where 2 people were injured in that crash, which just really looked like something out of a movie. A quick read through News 24 had this to say about this particular incident, and I'll show you some images of that accident. As mentioned, this piece, of course, was in News 24, which cited how 2 people were injured on Monday when a truck engulfed their vehicles in flames after what was already an accident on that road. The incident happened, of course, on the R34 between Vryheid and Ulundi in KwaZulu-Natal when a truck careened into an accident scene involving already an overturned truck, and it exploded. As I said, something out of a movie scene. I want to show you those exact images. Have a look at this first video, which will play into the second one. What was already a carnage sight, if you will, of the overturned truck then became almost Hollywood style, a massive explosion as another truck careened into this. Look at how it is the lives of ordinary South Africans, whether it was those traffic officials who were trying to take control of the scene, or the other South Africans, some of whom may have been victims of the first crash, idling on the side of the road, and of course onlookers. Look at how it is fellow South Africans and their lives that were placed at risk. And why? Because politicians in this country insist on a bad policy of preferring trucking over rail. Have a look at this, the carnage.
Richards Bay, on its way to Richards Bay. The truck was driving along R34. Was driving along R34. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Shit. Another accident again on the same place. So, Jesus.
Yes, that massive fireball accident is exactly what happened as described in that story. It almost looks like something out of an action movie by Michael Bay or something like that. It's insane. It's insane that obviously human lives were involved in that. Fellow South Africans who are victims of bad policy from bad politicians who are trying to greedily extract from this industry. And again, I must be clear, this is not an assault or an attack on the trucking industry generally. Guys, the trucking industry, of course, it serves an important and invaluable part in the economy of this country. The point I'm making here, that the size of the current trucking company, sector is artificially inflated, it's artificially propped up by policy that is designed to create this artificial sector simply because politicians would rather enrich themselves than use logically what has been bequeathed to this country, which is an expansive, paid for, an existing rail network. The same rail network which today is now being looted and plundered by various, I suppose other criminals taking advantage of the fact that politicians have overlooked this critical infrastructure's existence today. But again, as I said, that bad policy has effects. It has real world effects on us. The trucks that are now inflated, that are all over our roads, have become a menace in society. These two accidents that we're talking about here, whether it's the one in Pongola rather, and outside Vryheid and Ulundi, these are not the first accidents to have happened of this nature. Trucks can be an absolute menace on our roads. Have a look at this mashup.
Oh my word! Stop the truck! Stop the truck! The fucking truck! Mommy! Mommy! Mom, the truck!
Yes, just look at the carnage that these trucks can bring on our streets. And as always, at the receiving end of this is you and me, the ordinary citizens who are the victims of bad policy that continues to perpetuate this situation. It is absolutely untenable, and it's something we need to put massive pressure on politicians and not allow them, by the way, to pretend as if, oh, this is a new problem. We need to do something about it. Like this particular tweet from Ufigile Mbalula, who says, we need to move everything from trucks to rail. I nearly swore. Maybe Ufigile Mbalula is another politician I need to challenge to a game of Rochambeau, where I get to definitely go first in kicking him in the nuts. This is an old problem, one which now needs not the ANC government perhaps, because clearly they've monetized it and they're making bank out of it. It needs a new set of political leadership in this country, thought leadership, to actually go back to what works, and that is rail, because the cost of continuing in this current status quo is absolutely horrific. I'm not going to play the video. I'll show you just an image to remind you of what can happen and what has happened before. The only time mass deaths have happened involving truck accidents wasn't just the Pongola incident that saw 20 people die. You'll remember, of course, the Fields Hill accident, which claimed multiple lives there, tens of lives there, in the most horrific accident. And it's horrific because for a lot of us who live in Durban, we pass by, and whether you're going to Pinetown or Hillcrest, whatever the case may be, we still pass by that very spot where those people were snuffed out like that. A reminder to you of just how horrific that accident scene looked like. As you remind yourself of that incident and the many more, and the likely thousands of South Africans who have lost their lives to accidents on our roads involving trucks, the very trucks that are here in the sort of numbers that they're in because of bad policy by politicians, a reminder to you that it is in our hands, yours and mine, the faith, flag, family, and freedom type South African. If we are to end the carnage, we need to raise our voice consistently and apply political pressure consistently to say back to rail is what is required, and any politician that disagrees will be booted out of office faster than they can say choo-choo train. All right, folks, I'm going to end this one here. It was a particular focus, a zooming in, a deep dive on the issue of the trucks on our roads, the artificially created sector insofar as its size of trucks on our roads. I would love your views on this. Maybe you're someone who lives in a part of the country where trucks are a menace like this. Maybe you live in a part of the country where maybe you're at risk of trucks insofar as how they behave on the roads. Maybe you have a story yourself of how you may have been in an accident involving trucks. Hey, maybe even you are a truck driver. Again, I want to repeat this point. This is not an attack on you guys as truck drivers or even entrepreneurs in the trucking industry. It's simply an attack on the bad policy that unfortunately props up your industry and includes people who should not be in this particular sector, simply because they're there to extract wealth and not provide a service safely and efficiently, where the safety and the efficiency should mean more rail in this country. And there are options around what we can do to bring back the rail. Definitely limiting the power and the scope of Transnet, bringing in more private sector players to put on locomotives, to offer their services to move freight on our rail. The government can keep control of the actual rail lines itself, but let's bring in the private sector, incentivize it to set up shop and to provide those rail services. Why have a truck, a Superlink truck with just two cargo containers on it, when you could place a bigger order of what you want to move on a train that has 100 cars on it, or even a railway system that begins to look at high-speed rail. Rail is a much more efficient, a much safer way to move goods and people, as opposed to the carnage right now. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end the show. Let me know what you think, as I said, about the show. All of our information on, so far as social media, how you can reach us, are in the descriptor of this video. I'm looking forward to your commentary in this regard, as I make the point that we need to hold these politicians to account, people. Anyway, find me also on my website at www.bigdaddyliberty.com. There, of course, I'll also look forward to your comments, and all our videos are on there too. And remember, of course, that we come to you every weekday from 7 a.m. If you're watching this on YouTube in particular, do me a favor, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and, of course, the bell notification, so that every weekday from 7 a.m. you'll know when Vuka Nazo is on your screens. Happy Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow.